all, once again welcome back to our English section. We people are aware of the importance of English language and the role of grammar in it, no? Yes, the grammar is a set of structural rules that governs a natural language. Incorrect of the usage of grammar causes poor communication, poor first impression, etc. So communication, the exchange of information by speaking, writing or some other medias. So today we are going to deal with two important topics, that is sentences and reported speech. Yes, we had learned it in our lower classes, no? Let's recall it. Sentences are mainly divided into four on the basis of purpose. First one is statement. It is known as declarative sentence or assertive sentence. It makes a statement and ends with a period, means it's a full stop. Ends with a full stop. Example, we own a cat, full stop. Second one is question. Interrogative sentence. It asks questions and it ends with a question marks. Third one is exclamatory sentence. It makes statements with emotions. Emotions are expressed there and it ends with an exclamatory mark. And the last one is imperative sentence. This sentence shows a command or request. It gives the commands or request and it ends with that, sometime with an exclamatory mark or with that full stop. I hope it's clear till here. Okay, now look at the reported speech or indirect speech. What is reported speech? Reported speech is when you tell somebody else what you or a person said before. Distinction must be made between direct speech or indirect speech. Look at the examples to distinguish direct speech or indirect speech, also known as reported speech. No? She says, I like tuna fish. She says that she likes tuna fish. She said, I'm visiting Paris next weekend. She said that she was visiting Paris the following weekend. When you use reported speech, you either report in statement, question, request, command or exclamatory sentence. While changing statements, you have to check whether you have to change the pronouns, tense, place, time expression. See the pronouns. The pronouns, change of pronoun depends on who says what. Okay. Example, she says, my dad likes roast chicken. She says that her dad likes roast chicken. Now look at the tenses. If the sentence starts in a present, there is no back shift of tenses in reported speech. But if the sentence starts in the past, there is often a back shift. Look here, I write poems. He says that he writes poem. I write poem. He said that he wrote poem. See the shifting of the tenses. Don't change tense if the introductory clause is in the present tense. Note that you might have to change the form of present tense form, third person singular. He says, I write poems. He says that he writes English. Okay? So there is no change in the tense. You must change the tense if the introductory clause in the past tense. Example, he said, I'm happy. He said that he was happy. Now look at the direct speech and indirect speech or reported speech. The simple present is changed into simple past. He said, I'm happy. He said that he was happy. Present progressive. Progressive means continuous is changed into past progressive. That is past continuous. He said, I'm looking for my keys. He said that he was looking for his keys. See the third one, simple past is changed into past perfect simple. That is, he said, I visited New York last year. He said that he had visited New York the previous year. Okay, I hope it's clear. Now look at the next one, present perfect. He said, I have lived here for a long time. Present perfect will change into past perfect. He said that he had lived there for a long time. Past perfect will change into past perfect itself. No change. They had finished the work. They had finished the work. When I arrived, when he had arrived. Okay? Yes, you had to use the past perfect form there. Look at the next one, past progressive. He said, I was playing football when the accident occurred. So it will be changing into past perfect progressive, perfect continuous. He had been playing football when the accident had occurred. Clear? Now look at the next one, present perfect continuous. I have been playing football for 2 hours. He had been playing. It will be changing into past perfect continuous. Past perfect continuous will be past perfect continuous itself. There is no change. I had been reading a newspaper when the light went off. He had been reading a newspaper when the light had gone off. Okay. Then future symbol, future, will plus verb will change into would plus verb. Okay. The condition would plus verb is there. He said I would buy Mercedes if I were rich. It will be changing into he would buy Mercedes if he had been rich. Can you recall the condition that we had learned in the conditional clause? Yes. When if comes, the 3 conditions we had learned, no? Yes, in the first condition, if comes, if it is the present tense, we will use will, and if it's the past tense, we will use would, and if it is in the past perfect, we will use would have plus past participle. Okay. Now, the more modal verbs could, would, should, might, need not, ought to, used to do not have any change. Example, she might be right. He said that she might be right. Now look at the next models here. Can, may, must, will. How can we use it? I can do it. He said he could do it. May I go out? He wanted to know if he might go out. She must apply for the job. He said that she must or had to apply for the job. Okay. They will call you. He told her that they would call her. Okay. Now look at the place, demonstratives and time expressions. It changes if the context of the reported statement is different from that of the direct speech. In the following table, you will find the different changes of place, demonstratives and time expressions. Look there, today will change into that day, time expression. Okay, now will change to then, yesterday, the next day before, days ago, days before, last week, the week before, next year, the following year, tomorrow, the next day or the following day. And also here will change to that. Now look at the demonstrative. This will change to that. These will change to those. Okay. Now reporting questions. In transforming questions, check whether you have to change the pronouns, place and time expressions, tenses, the same as the previous one. But the thing you should note here is when you're transforming the question into indirect speech, use the question word where, when, what, how. Or you should use if or whether. Look at the first type with question word what, why, where, how. Direct speech. Why don't you speak English? How will you change into indirect or reported speech? He asked me why I didn't speak English. Okay. Asking a question without a question word, yes or no questions, how will you ask? Do you speak English? He asked me whether or if I spoke English. Okay. So as we had learned in the first statement, we have to use the pronouns, tenses and place and time expressions correctly. Okay. Usage of question words, and if the question words are not there, usage of if or whether should be kept in your mind. Look at the third type of sentence, reporting questions or commands. And transformed it, check whether you have to change the pronouns, place and time expression. Look at the example, Nancy do the exercise. He told Nancy to do the exercise. You should use to there. Nancy, give me your pen, please. He asked Nancy to give him her pen. Okay. While requesting or commanding, tenses are not relevant, important for request. Okay. You have to use to or not to. Infinite without to. Look there. She said sit down. She asked me to sit down. She said don't be lazy. She asked me not to be lazy. For affirmative sentences, use to plus infinitive. For negative request, use not to plus infinitive. Now, expression of advice with must, should and ought to are usually reported using advice or urge. You must read this book. he advised or urged me to read that book. The expression let's is usually reported using suggest. In this case, there are two possibilities for reported speech, gerund or statement with should. Look the example there. Let's go to the cinema. He suggested going to the cinema. He suggested that we should go to the cinema. So these are the things you should keep in your mind while reporting. Okay. So let's recall. First one, you have to keep the verb and time tense in your mind while writing a reported speech. Second one, modals. The change of modals should be kept in your mind. Then the change of pronouns should also be learned. Then time words. Now will become then, today, that day, etc. So if you keep these things and if you know the sentences properly, it is easy for you to report. I hope all understood this topic. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. See you in the next class.